is Wednesday, March 20th. Welcome to Good Day NWA. I'm Jason Sewell. Here's what's coming up on today's show. Historian Raffi Andonian will join us to talk about the history of basketball. Of course, basketball in the air, March Madness right now. We're going to discuss where the game got its start and how it's changed over the decades. Plus, he'll refresh our memory on several amazing runs that the Razorbacks have had in March Madness as well. Welcome back. Basketball is in the air. It is March Madness time, and the teams are ready to play to see who comes out the champion. I had the chance to catch up with celebrity historian Raffi Andonian on the history of this Mad Month and where our Razorbacks fit into that picture. Check it out. Celebrity historian Raffi Andonian is joining us now. Not just a history fan, but a basketball player.
Yes, and believe it or not, I have my wallet that I carry around. It's my actual wallet. You can see it well used since childhood. Growing up on the Kobe and Shaq days.
Of course.
And so, of course, I'm going to be a basketball fan, carrying around my childlike basketball wallet. Now, of course, it never wears out on the outside because of basketball. Unless I'm dribbling the wallet, it's going to stay in. Yep,
yeah, I love
it. Definitely love it.
So I know the game of basketball really well, and it's changed over the years, over the decades. What did it look like when it started?
The first game had only one basket made, believe it or not. We're talking in the 1890s, James Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame named after him. And believe it or not, there were 18 players on the court, 9 and 9. That became sort of a norm afterwards. It's not an official rule because sometimes there are records of up to 50 players playing on the court. And the first game was also what we would consider.
Room on the court?
No, because great you say that because the first game was actually also what we would consider a half-court game.
Oh,
so you're stuffing in 18 for the first game, but eventually goes up to 50 and kind of fluctuates.
So you took turns on offense and defense, like if you scored.
No, you may have. Oh, yes, you do take turns on offense and defense.
Because it was just half of a court, right?
Correct. Exactly. Much like we would play the half-court game. Now the rules look different too, though. So for example, in the early years, you don't have the dribbling that we do, so you can't bounce the ball.
Oh, really?
You also don't have, of course, you don't have a shot clock and three-point line. That come much later.
So you just pass the ball. It kind of reminds me of netball, which is a different kind of a game now.
Correct. It is a different kind of game. And early on, over in Smith College, because in Massachusetts where they first started, is in Smith College, also in Massachusetts, where women's game picks up very early, believe it or not, in the 1890s and early 1900s. And they make some adjustments in that basketball game to make it more womanly, if you will, so it's not inappropriate. However, what's interesting, the other thing about it is they're being progressive by allowing women to play a sport, but they wouldn't let you like snatch the ball out of someone's hand because that wasn't seen as womanly, right? That is actually later connected to a version of netball because it does go over to the British Empire, so it's a good thing that you bring that up. Yeah. I think of netball as a kind of a hybrid of basketball and frisbee.
Yeah, absolutely.
From our standpoint.
For sure, yeah, and it has its origins sort of in the same thing.
That's right.
Let's move on and talk about March Madness specifically. Where did this term March Madness even come from, Raffi?
Illinois high school basketball tournament. We're talking in the 1900s to the 1930s. By the time of the 1930s, you have 900 schools, high school, that are participating in the Illinois basketball tournament by the Illinois High School State Association.
Huge.
And so that became known as March Madness. There was an essay written about it. There was a magazine. There was a video series, all kinds of things. That's the term that was March Madness that originally. It wasn't associated with college basketball until Brent Musburger in the 1980s applied the term March Madness to that. Now,
to the tournament for the NCAA.
To the NCAA tournament, that's right. Now, believe it or not, the NIT predates the NCAA tournament by a year. But when the NCAA tournament started in 1939, it was not originally known as March Madness until the 1980s with Brent Musburger. Now, that did lead to some issues with trademarks.
Sure.
Because, believe it or not, Illinois did have it trademarked as March Madness, but eventually they came to an agreement to be able to use it, and of course we use it all over the place today.
Yeah.
But think about the origins. It's always been a single elimination, actually a large field, 900 schools in high school, and that tournament had all kinds of crazy stuff happen, just like you would expect in March Madness, including an undefeated team and a school with 98 students that went on to win the championship.
Wow, that's impressive. Let's bring it down home for us and talk about some Razorbacks. Can we talk about Arkansas and Arkansas history?
Absolutely. Mike Conley still in the NBA today, and the Minnesota Timberwolves, who of course are doing really well. You have Malik Monk.
Yeah,
you have, of course, Ron Brewer and Ronnie Brewer, right? So those are some local talent. There's also, of course, Joe Johnson, who went to University of Arkansas, even though he's not originally from Arkansas. And there are several WNBA players as well from University of Arkansas. Now, speaking of University of Arkansas, on the men's side, of course, you have the championship, 1994, and 6 Final Fours.
Yeah.
And on the women's side, we have, of course, 3 Final Fours as well, and some Sweet 16s. So now you can see that there's a rich history, both locally and the University attracting talent for Arkansas in basketball.
Yeah, and Arkansas may not have had the season we were expecting this year. Who are you pulling for this year in March Madness, Raffi?
You know what? I think Indiana State.
Yeah.
I know it's a long shot, but they're having a great year. It's Larry Bird's alma mater, and I was just at the Missouri Valley Conference tournament watching it live, and I really like them. I'm pulling for them.
Sycamores is who he's pulling for there. I love to see it.